Hello and welcome to a new part. Now this is part 7, and in part 7 we'll be working on the front end. In the last few parts we have worked on the API and have created the route for /users which allow the consumer of the API to save or to create a new user in the database. Now on the front end we'll be working on the registration form. In this part, we will build the UI of the registration form. So we start by creating in the components a new form. We'll name it registration.js. This will be the user registration form. Now remember, in our design for the mobile, we have the registration form in its own page. Now on the mobile, we have the registration form with the welcome page. Both are displayed together as a single page. So the strategy here will be following to achieve this result. We will create a registration component in the component folder, and we'll create here two pages, the home.js and the register.js page. Now the register.js page of course will contain the registration form, and the home page will also contain the registration form, but it will only be rendered on desktop only, which will be hidden on mobile instead of this registration form. We'll have a button here that once clicked will redirect to the registration page where it contains the registration form. So in this video we'll be creating the registration form UI and put it in the home page. First we'll create our functional component, the registration form, and we'll export at the same time, export default. Alright, registration, let's name it registration form. I guess it's more clear this way, registration form. Alright, registration form. Alright, so in the registration form we'll be returning, so return a form element. Now inside the form, for each label and the input we'll create a block with div. So we'll be having here 4 divs. I will skip for now the thumbnail. So here there will be a div dot, we'll add to it a class field. Inside this div of course there will be the label, name, input, and the value will be full name. Then we'll have the input, which is of type text. The name will be name and the ID will be name input. Now we'll duplicate this for the email. Then for the password, then for the repassword. Alright, so I will name it here repassword, and the label will be verified password. Alright, this is our form, which will work now on styling it with style sheet. Now to style our registration form, we have 2 ways in doing this. The first way is we'll keep our structure as it is right now and add to the global style sheet the styles for the class field and its children label and input. Alright, or we can put it in a separate file that we'll import here in this in this component module. The second method is to create a separate component for the field, and this component will handle the structure and will contain the styles inside of it. This way we'll have a reusable field component that we can provide the input, HTML, and we can provide, for example, the attribute for the label as text. So here both are fine. For now, I will rely on adding style sheets in the global CSS. All right, later on we can refactor this if we feel that it's better for us to refactor it. So now we keep it as much as simple, classic HTML CSS way. So I'll go, let's look at my app.css. All right, here we have the style sheets for the whole app. Now we'll add to it style sheet for class field. Now we'll add form.field. As you can see here, the app.css is not Sass. I don't know if I rename it to SCSS, if it's work. So now I changed the extension to SCSS, hoping that the Webpack configuration is set up by the Create React app. I don't know, I'm just trying. Alright, before any of this, let's import the registration form inside the home.js just to see it for now. So just like this, I will import, first here I will import registration form from components registration form, and I will use it below, and I will run the server. First I will go to the directory front, then I will type yarn start. Alright, we have an error, can't resolve app.css, of course. So in the app.js we'll change the app.css to app.scss as we have changed the extension. Let's see if this works. What we have, cannot find module Sass. Alright, so let's activate the Sass. Now to add Sass style sheets to our Create React app generated application, as the documentation say here, we need to add the node Sass package, and it will work automatically. Alright, so let's add this package, yarn add node Sass. Alright, now as the documentation suggests, all we need to do is rename the app from app.css to app.scss and change the app.js to import the right file with the right extension. Now this is supposed to work, so let's run the server again. Alright, we have an error here which is not related to Sass, which means possibly it is working. So registration form is not defined in the registration form. Alright, we have a typo. So in the registration form, alright, we have a typo in the name. Alright, so if we refresh now, okay, here is our form below. Perfect. Now let's continue with the styling of this form. Now as we have now the Sass activated, we can take this advantage of embedding style rules, and here the form which has the dot field child At the same time, the field child will have the label. So if I go to my Figma, here where I did the design, I can click. Now if we go to the label itself, we get some style which we can use here for the typography and the color. All right, we can take those styles and use them here. Now, as you can see, we are using the colors hard-coded like this. So we need to make this color as a theme. One way we can do this is by creating CSS bars, which I'll rely on it here for now. So we create some vars to the body. I can create some vars here, for example. Or instead of body, most of the documentation suggests to add global style to the root. Okay, so I'll follow the convention here and make it at the root. Now here, I'll create a style sheet variable with this syntax. So dash dash, let's name it primary color. All right, and the value will be here. I'll add the value. For example, for the primary color, it's the red. All right. So this I have now here. I have created a CSS variable at the root. What does that mean? So the root here is the most parent element. So it's the wrapper element of the body and the whole document. All right. This is a pseudo element, and that's what it means. Now by adding a variable to the root, all right, I'm making it accessible to all its children. All right, now if I add, for example, this variable or other variable, for example, to the form, okay, it will be only accessible to the form children's, which are the fields, the label, and the input. But the primary color is a global variable here, need to be accessible by the whole, by any element in this document. So another color is here. We have some kind of gray color, or we can name it, for example, text color. Gray color, and it will be, come on. All right. Another color is this one. All right, it will be light gray for now. It will be this value. Now to use a variable, all right, we'll use, of course, the name. For example, here inside a function, the function is var, which is provided by style sheet. So var, inside of the var we put the var name. This is how we use a variable. Similar way here, var, and we put the var name here. It is gray. Let me make sure the gray is with a. All right, I'll copy and paste it here. So here it is light gray. All right, so I have here my style sheet for the label ready for testing. All right, let's try it now. So if I go to my application and reload, okay, it seems, all right, they are applied. As you can see, it is somewhat grayish, which is perfect. Next, I can quickly now add the display flex and flex direction column, which look for now off as in terms of design, but we'll fix this very shortly. Now back to my figma.com. Here I need to take the style for an input, so I'll grab here the provided, the auto-generated style by Figma by going to the tab Inspect and scrolling to the bottom. As you can see, there are two groups of styles separated by a a white space here, the new carriage line, and these styles are positioning, so you don't need these styles, they are just to position it on the design here. So now for the input, for now I will specify the text, so input type equal text. So for the text only input, I will add this, the auto-generated style from Figma, which contains the background as white. I can remove this, by default it is white. The border, so as you can see here, we have a new color, the light gray for the border. I will make it global and I will name it border color. Now I will copy the variable name, and here I can create the var, provide to it the name. So this is for the border box sizing. Border box, we are already applying this to our website, where we are applying it in the, I guess, in the index.css. Alright, box sizing, border box. The index.css file, we are using it for resetting styles. Now for the border radius, it's 4 pixels. Alright, if I go again, check the label here, we have the font family, okay, Roboto. I'm applying this to the whole website, I don't need it here. Font style normal, it is by default. Font weight 300. Alright, I'll keep the rest. Let me remove the background. Alright, let us check what we have. Oh, one more thing I want to add is the height. So I want the height to be fixed, so I will add the height also. Let's have a look. And here it is. Next, we need to add some space between the full name and between the label and the field. So we'll add here margin bottom. Let's check Figma again, which is, it is 10 pixels. So margin bottom will be 10 pixels. Again, alright, this is perfect. Oh, now between each field also we need to add some space. Back to Figma again. It's 20 pixels. So the field will have, yes, margin bottom of 20 pixels. Alright, so this is our form for now. Okay, let me check here. I don't like the style of this text. So what we can do is, for the field, if we add padding, let's say of 5 pixels first, or 10, 5 for the vertically and 10 horizontally. Alright, first thing. And let's make the color lighter, so let's say color 828282 for example. Alright, let's make it larger, font size 16 pixels, or we can increase it to 14. Alright, so let's copy these styles here and use them for the input. Alright, so this color here, I guess we have it as the variable, so, or let's make it the gray color, a little bit darker. So we'll add here a var and we pass the variable here. And, alright, it's much better. Alright, so now we need the button. We need to create also the button. Alright, now let's go to registration form and add the button. Now I can wrap it also with a field to have consistency in the spacing. Now inside the field, alright, I'll create the button, which will be a button element and contain as a label. For example, create. In the or save, for example. It could be save, or like let's keep it safe for now. And this will have a type of submit. So by clicking this button here, you will be submitting the form. So if you have here the on submit later on, which we'll be creating, it will fire. Alright, now for the style of the button, if we now check the React, of course the button had no style, and it seems it is off now. We fix that in a moment. So to style this button here, what we can do is, again, I'll go to Figma here, and by clicking on the button, I can grab the styles provided by Figma, which is display flex direction row. Let me get the background and border radius for now. So in my app.scss, do I have a button here? No, not yet. So let's create a button. Now a button could be, is not restricted to form. So I'll create here a style for the general element button, and I'll pass these two rules. If I check now, alright, I'll remove the border. Alright, back to Figma here. See color, there's no color. Weird, there's no color. Okay, now we can click on the text inside of it, and we can get the style for the text here. Font roboto, no, which are applied by default. Font weight bold, font size 16, line height without line height, font size 16 and bold. Alright, I will add the color here to white, and I'll make sure it is white, but no, it is off-white, so it should be F2, 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 F2. Alright, check. Alright, now for the padding, I can add a padding of, let's say, 10 pixel. Alright, and as you can see, it is expanding the wall width of the proper element, of the parent element. Let's fix this by going to the registration form. What we can do, we can rope it with an additional div. So if I rope it with a div, the full width of the flex, which we have applied to the field, will be applied to div. So div will be full width, but not the button. Alright, this is it. Now let me add some padding on the left and right, some more padding. So for the padding and for the left and right, let's make it 20 pixels, which is awesome. Alright, this is it for the button. As you can see, the both buttons have been styled. What is missing is the title of this form. Now, as you can see in the design, both desktop and mobile, they have the create new account, the same title, is the same style, and this title here, as you can see, is the main title of a page. So it's an H1. So let's grab the text. This is a general title that is available on all pages, most pages here, and it's a title page. It's not a title specific to a form. It could be to a form, it could be to a map here, to a list here. So it is not specific to the form, it is specific to a page. So let's rope this form in a div with a page class, so we could apply it to any page that need a title. So this page will contain, of course, a child element title. So let's select first the wall form element and Ctrl+Shift+P. I will select the embed and type the div.page, alright, which will rope my form element with the div with the class name page. So inside the page, I will add the H1, and for the title, I will paste the for the text, I will paste the create new account. Now let's look at our browser. Here it is, the title. And concerning the padding, we also set some padding for the H1 element. So let's go back to Figma to check our design. And as you can see, the H1 padding here and there are the same, I guess. 1, 2, 3, and here they are. I'll create a special style for an H1 here, and H1 inside a page will have this style. So if I click now on this element here in my design and click the inspect tab, if I scroll down, I have the style here for the typography, and I can apply these rules in the app.css. Here where I have the H1, I can target the H1 with an element dot page by typing dot page and H1, and I will apply to it these rules. Now for the font style normal and font weight normal, we need them to override the bold. Font style normal, we don't need to have it. Font size here it's 22 and the line height is 26. Now I need to replace the color, so here the color will be 333. Now this color here is our darkest color, so I will create it into a variable. I will name it dark-color, which will be 333, and here I will use the variable dark color. Now I remember here we have used a light color, so I will create our white color, which is a white off, so white color, or light color, which will be to the value f2, 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 and then I will use it here. So here we replace it with a var. Alright, now similar to this color here, the red, which is the primary. So var here primary color. Alright. So if I go to my design again, I can see that nothing has changed, because it seems that this syntax here for in the H1 it's not applied. I'm sorry, dot page and the end is the H1 actually. So here it is now applied. Now both for the padding they are actually off, so we need to increase the padding bottom to 30 pixels. Alright, it seems that it is more than 30 because we have some padding that it is applied on both H1. We have the padding, I mean the margin here in the reset style sheet. So let's reset the H1, or we will search for a reset CSS or reset style sheet. Alright, and we grab the HTML5 Doctor, which is 2009, or alright, let's rely on anyone actually. Let's rely on this for now. Alright, we copy the meta info, so a user can know from where this is coming. Alright, table, we have reset for most of the element here, which is alright, which is great, and we copy it. Let's replace this wall elements here, which are provided by create React app, and paste the reset. So with the reset style sheets in place, now we remove the default margins margins that come with the h1 element. What is next? Concerning the page element, we have, I guess it's clear, we have padding. On some pages it's applied globally to the page, on other pages it is applied, as you can see, by element. As you can see, this page, for example, doesn't have a padding. The padding is 25, I guess. So as you can see, it shows 25. So what we can do is add padding to by element. So here we'll create additional style to the page. Here we'll target the dot page. Now for the h1 we'll add a padding 0.25 pixel for the left and right. Then we'll create a general element. We'll name it page padding, which applies the padding 25 pixel on the left and right. So page padding or page P. Let's make it page P. So page P, now we can apply it. For example, here in our registration form, we can apply it to each field, or we can apply it to the form element. So we can give it a class name, which will be equal to page-p. Alright, why we are doing here, again, I will explain it to you. Here, the padding is not actually related to the page. If we have a look at most of the pages, we have some element on the inside the page that have zero padding. So we need to set the page padding in relation to the child elements that need this padding. Alright, so let's check our application, and we see here we have the page padding actually applied, but for the h1 we did a mistake. So alright, so for the h1, instead of padding, I will make it here I will make it margin bottom. Alright, as you can see here, there's extra padding. Alright, I have the page which add padding to the h1 and to the form. Now the page itself is wrapped in a container which also add padding. So we need to remove the padding on the container first. So this is our container. We remove the padding. Alright, so no padding on the container. So this is it on the mobile. Okay, this is the padding needed. Now for the content of the home page, which doesn't follow the page style, we need to add them specifically. We need to add the styles inline inside the home page to add a margin left and right 20 pixel for this HTML structure here. So if I go to home page, alright, here is the home page. I can see I'm already adding some styles to a wrapper element using the styled component. So what I can do, I can target the, let's say, the h1p and button. So h1p button, I can add to these three elements padding of 25 pixel on the left and right. Alright, here it is. It's better to add a wrapper div. I can wrap this content with a div element with a class, let's say home content. Alright, then I will target the home content here. Dot home content, adding to it a padding of 25 pixel on the left and right, which solves our problem. Now here we need some padding also between the text and the button, and between the image and the data here. So back to my design, If I select the image, I can see there's a 30 pixel between the title and the image, and between the button and the text, I guess it is also 30. Yes, it is 30. So for the image, margin bottom 30 pixel, and for the inside the home content, for the let's target the p dot large. So in the home content, p dot large. All right, margin bottom, I'll make it 25 instead of 30 pixel. So to group these elements together, so it's better to have this 25. And here if I check, all right, this is awesome. Now concerning the spacing between both pages, on the vertical alignment, we don't care for now because the layout will not be stacked vertically. As you can see in the design for the desktop, the design is is side by side for both components, so they will be stacked horizontally. All right, so you don't need to do anything for now. Now this is it for this video. In the next video, we'll set up our layout for the desktop, and we'll set up the layout also for the mobile. Alright, now one thing while I'm explaining to you I noticed is that the label have the font off. Alright, if I go back to my app.css font robot, I need to set the font to the body actually, not just to the h1. So I'll set it to the body. I'll set the font to Roboto, alright, which will be applied to all the elements because we are using only one font in our design. Alright, this is it for this video. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video. Have a nice day.